Looking for a new car or expert service? Visit Limerick Motor Centre, your main Hyundai dealer on the Ballysimon Road. A proud family business for over 30 years, we're Ireland's longest-serving Hyundai dealer. With sales, service, parts and finance all under one roof, our dedicated team delivers value, expertise and customer care you can trust. Call 061 417 141 or visit limerickmotorcentre.ie. Limerick Motor Centre, driving with you for over 30 years.
The impression the game you get out with what you put into it's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
Not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Johnny Buckley. To do that to Tomás O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry. Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it hard. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to episode 354 of Treaty Talk. It is county final week in football with 6 finals down for decision, and we're here in association once again with Limerick Motor Centre, the main Hyundai dealer in Limerick. And my own name, if you didn't already know it by now, is Tom Clancy, and I'm joined by the Weekly Observer and Veilstar newspapers, Matt O'Callaghan, and also joining us is Limerick Under-20 Banishdor, John O'Grady, to discuss all things football this week. Gentlemen, how are you? John, how's all with you?
Good.
All good, Tom. All good, thanks.
Welcome to Treaty Talk, John.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks.
Yeah, good to have you along, and we've plenty to get our teeth stuck into. We'll go through the finals chronologically, and we'll see what we think of the would-be winners, or maybe who's in the shake-up. Starting, Matt, I'll start with yourself in terms of the senior final. We have a small bit of a surprise in the format. The county champions Adair were dethroned last week, but it's a coming force in Mungret St. Paul's who've dethroned them, and they'll face Newcastle West this Sunday in McNeville Park.
Yeah, Tom, it wasn't an absolutely huge surprise, because I think I flagged it a couple of weeks back to watch out Mungret St. Paul's, because I've seen them a good few times now through the group stages, and there was clearly measurable improvement all the way along. And you remember that great game they had in the opening, the very first. It's ironic that the first game should be the repeat. We'll say the final should be a repeat of the first game, and it was a classic. The first game, which augurs well for Sunday. But if you look behind the stats in it, Newcastle West were down a good few players that particular night, including the like of Darren Doherty, Emmett Richter, Brian Nix, Mick O'Keefe, and they're all back into it now. But no doubt whatsoever, Tom, Mungret St. Paul's, as this campaign has progressed, have shown demonstrable improvement game on game. And, I really think that they are really, really well primed and up for Sunday.
Yeah, John, it is the makings of a great final. We've seen Newcastle West over the last decade have been to the fore. I think they've only lost one game since 2020, if my stats are correct. And this is a Munger team now that's probably coming with no fear. Since they've come up senior, they've been very, very impressive. I think they've won, 11 out of 13 games since they came up senior, and beaten narrowly in those other 2 games. So these 2 teams should be well matched on Sunday in the decider.
Yeah, I think what Matt said there is right. Like, after the first game, I don't think it's going to surprise anyone that both of these teams have reached the final. Like Newcastle West will be coming in. They're a well-oiled machine. They've been here. They've done this plenty of times. But at the same time, Mungret are kind of coming. And this is their time to start their history and their legacy now. And their trajectory has been on the upwards since they've come up from intermediate. They've been constantly improving year on year. And one thing I think, like, Mungret are going to go into this game, as Matt said, absolutely zero fear. Look, in fairness, Kevin and the lads, Munger will be going all guns for this. And even like when you look at the one thing I actually hope for Sunday is that the conditions are favourable, because I think that both of these teams will want to be on the front foot. Both of these teams are going to go after each other. both of these teams have scorers, 2-point scorers, goal scorers. So if the conditions are good, like you'd hate for a final to be dictated by a savage breeze going straight down the field, and it's one half versus the second half. If we can get good conditions, we've been for quality 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's the first final, John, under the new rules, and I think you touched on it there. We have some fantastic 2-point shooters, goal scorers in both these teams, and traditionally maybe the Limerick finals have been cagey, low-scoring affairs, and not just the last few years, but maybe going back even in the noughties, there was all but tense and tight affairs, and it might have been often maybe 9 points to 10 or thereabouts. But there's a potential for this game to be very high scoring, as you say, if the conditions allow. These two teams can go and they can spar, at either end, and it won't. I don't foresee a really defensive game, albeit there will be probably times where teams will sit deep and try and shut out the other team. But we have the potential for a really open game and a really high scoring game.
Yeah, and I think like each team is going to want to lay down a marker early doors. Like they're not going to want to wait for the other team to kind of see what they can throw at us. They're going to go at each other and leave their stand. But whether it be like Ian Corber's going to want to send the tip, or Killian Ryan's going to want to do the very same for Mungret, John Hutton, like I know he featured last day, he was carrying a bit of a knock to keep him out against Moline. Like he's going to want to get on the scoreboard with his frees for Mungret in the same way. Owen Hurley's going to want to do the very same for Newcastle West. And even like when you look at the teams that when they played their semi-finals, and the one thing what they both guys have is they have serious quality coming in off the bench. Like if you take Mungret, you had the likes of Dermot Hines, Tom Lloyd, Jack Summers, Darragh Bridgman, like all counting 20 players within the last 2 to 3 years. And then Newcastle West, on the other hand, then like they were bringing on Lee Wolfe, Todd Donovan, Brian Foley, again Limerick on the 20s, and then of course Emmett Richter, who's fairly well known around Limerick football circles now.
Yeah, not just Limerick, I suppose, nationally as well. Yeah, Matt, it was
I just said John there now, and he'd have first-hand knowledge of this particular player. Is it indicative of the actual strength of Mungret St. Paul's that a player of the calibre of who was your captain this year, Dermot Hines, is struggling to get a starting bat?
Yeah, I think, look, as you said there, Matt, is the strength and depth that they have. And it's kind of a case of where if lads aren't performing, there's 2 or 3 other guys outside are waiting in the wings to get their chance. So
in his defence, I think he got a knock against Monaleen when he scored a beautiful 2-pointer in Clorina. He actually picked up a knock and he went off early in the second half. So maybe that was inhibiting his involvement. But nevertheless, the fact that he's not into 15 and they're still quite strong probably is a testament to what Kevin and the lads have assembled there. I suppose
to me, he has. When he's been on the Mungret team during the year, he has been outstanding. Actually, in the game against Newcastle West, he played extremely well when he came on as well, didn't he?
He did. Matt, just from the point of view of defeating Adair, I mean, that should do no level of tremendous level of confidence for Mungret, because I know they've been very competitive no matter who they've played since they came up senior. But anytime you beat the champions in a competition, no matter what it is, it must give you a huge boost. And to do it the way they did, kicking the last couple of scores, coming from where they're 3 or 4 points down late on, that is a big boost for them, Matt, isn't it? Heading into
it is, Tom. It's absolutely huge. But like the trajectory of Mungret since they were promoted is spot on. Tis built on very solid foundations. We saw them going through the group stages last year. 5 wins out of 5. Very few that have been promoted have done that, if anyone. And then to go to the semi-final and just miss out by a point. Like to continue on that trajectory, there was only one place they could go this year, and that was get to the final, and they've done so. And on the way to the final, they've knocked out the champions. So, like, there's no question about Mungret's pedigree at this stage. Any doubts that there were about they were only just up and they were an intermediate team 2 years ago, all that's gone at this stage. They are on the Limerick football landscape now as a real force, and I think that they are going to put it right up to Newcastle West on Sunday. I think I think it has the prospect for being a great final, Tom, and like we would even accept a little less than what we saw in the first round. The first round was just off the charts as a game. But of course, it'll depend. There's a couple of huge players on both sides, and John mentioned them. And since Ian Corbett is in the form of his life at the moment.
Yeah, he might get a county call up yet. You wouldn't know.
Absolutely. And like, for the want of a better word, until recently they've had him at Richter in reserve. And what a huge player he is if he's going to feature on Sunday. A huge player. Now, John mentioned Killian Ryan, an outstanding player. And another outstanding player for Mungret is Jason Hassett. Like, the way Jason Hassett has evolved as a footballer, from a club footballer to an inter-county footballer, and back now with the contribution and the way he's playing, he is absolutely outstanding defender. And of course, you've Darragh O'Hagan. And I'm not just picking the county men at random now. Like Shane Barry stepped up to the plate the last day when scores were needed. Like, they're a very, very, you have two very solid all-round teams. And as John said, both have players. If you were to look and say which team has an advantage coming off the bench, I don't think you could decide.
Yeah, it's a very fair point, John. The experience in Newcastle West has to count for something. I know we're saying Mungret are competitive, but they're used to the day, they're used to the occasion, they're used to this, going from knockout game to knockout game. It is new ground for Mungret at senior level, but like Newcastle West have always turned up in finals by hook or by crook. They've been the winners more often than not, in the last 10 years. And you mentioned the experience. Matt mentions the experience there of Ian Corbett, but like when you look through their team, it's a more senior looking team in terms of Thomas Quilligan, Mike McMahon, Mike Quilligan at the back, Darren O'Doherty's after a great year with Limerick, Seamus Hurley. Like, their team has evolved as well in Newcastle West, but they've kept so much experience, even though they've lost guys to immigration, guys to retirement. They've so much experience and so much know-how, so that has to count for something on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to have as well, Tom, is that they have guys that they won't panic. They will be cool, calm, and collected. If things go wrong, or things get a run on them, like you've seen there in the semi-final when teams got when Casey's kind of got that bit of a run on them, and there was no what do we do here. It was just kind of, let's just relax now, let's get on the ball, let's play our game. And that goes, I said, like, look, experience there. Like, if they could bring Mike Mack out there to the middle of the field, he's guaranteed to win you a few kickouts. Day in, day out, Ian Corbett is going to be an 8 out of 8, 9, 10 out of 10 performance. That's just Ian in his nature, like, and then likewise, like, quicks in goals, like, again, cool, calm, collective. Brian O'Sullivan, cornerback, like, again, another kind of constant performer for Newcastle West over 2 years. So, like, that's the one thing about them. They are when they're tested, they stand up. And I said, like, even if Mungret were to get a run of them on Sunday, they're not going to throw their ties out of pram or anything like those things. It's just, let's get on the ball, let's make things happen, and they'll back themselves to the hills. So.
Yeah, I'd noticed this year they've drawn 3 games in 60 minutes, but they were behind in all 3 games in stoppage time. That was namely against St. Kieran's, I think, in round 3, Galty Gales in round 4, and the other day they fell behind to a 2-pointer. And yet, as you touched upon there, John, no panic, managed to go up and kick an equalising score. And they're just so hard to beat. I think teams have, down the years, even a day or a couple of years ago in the final in Kilmallock, they were very well placed down the stretch. But yet, Newcastle West, their know-how and their ability to keep going to the bitter end. I mean, that alone, it just shows you why they've been at the very, very top of Limerick now for so long.
Yeah, and it goes back to, like, these guys will do their job, Like, if your job is a shooter, you shoot. If your job isn't a shooter, you try and get the shooters on the ball and they work their scores. And even, like, we were at that game against Galty Gales, and, like, in the first half they were cruising, and again, things didn't go right. Galty Gales, got in fairness, some did them very well. They got a run on them, they capitalised on the momentum. But again, Newcastle West was just kind of, right, let's just relax here now. We know what we have to do, and they went and done it.
Yeah.
I think, Tom, there's huge credit due to both sides, because you must remember that they are both, they're 2 of our dual senior clubs who have been juggling commitments to senior hurling and senior football for the year. And it was a particularly challenging year for Newcastle West, who were up in senior hurling for the first time in 35 years. And they had to juggle that, and they would probably have a slightly greater crossover of players that are playing both, of dual players, rather than Mungret. Now, Mungret have some as well, but maybe not as many. So, like, I think there's huge credit due to both sides. And, like, they've lost 1 game between them, Tom. and that was when Newcastle West beat Mungret by a point.
Yeah, there's just
Phenomenal pedigree coming into a final.
Anything of concern, John, from the, I suppose, the point of view of Mungret now have had to go to the well 2 weeks in a row. They squeaked by Monaleen by 2 points. It was a point win last week, third week on the trot. Or is it just the case maybe where adrenaline and momentum will take over? But like Newcastle West went the direct route, albeit they had extra time last week. Anything to be said for it? It could be a test for Mungret now. 3 games in basically two weeks.
No, I don't think it will, Tom. I think when you're in this position now and the both are getting to the county final and you've all these things coming up, I think you just you live in the moment and you go after it. Like there's no, I don't think there'll be any kind of side effects or any side shows in that regard. Like granted, the Monaleen game now conditions were tough, but you said there, like Newcastle West had to put an extra time performance in last week, and even like the point you made there about like that the June players stuff like that. I think Kevin came out with it and said us, and Ian Corbett said as well that they found it more difficult to kind of get momentum because of the stop-start nature, because of different interference and stuff like that. So, but look, I think both are coming in good form, and as I said, like I think it's going to be a really, really good final now here on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right though. The championship, the way it was, there was a game in July, there was one in August, I think there was 2 in September, spread apart, and then we went October, and then more or less straight in quarter semi-final. So it has been it's been 2 different types of championships almost. But
Tom, it hasn't been an ideal. It has been far from an ideal championship, and like that there have been complaints about it. But I suppose the reason that precipitated what we have, I suppose, is a very laudable one, in that we got to the Tarleton Cup final. And I suppose had we won the Tarleton Cup final, which we came so very close, and you must remember we started the Tarleton Cup final without Barry Coleman, and we had James Norton and we had Emmett Richter, who were not 100% fit going into the Tarleton Cup final. And had all things been equal, I've no doubt we'd have the Tarleton Cup in Limerick. But that's another issue. But the championship has been stop-start, and as a result has been very unsatisfactory from the football club's point of view and from management of the various football. John would know more about management than either of us. From the management point of view of clubs trying to maintain focus and all that sort of thing. But look, it is what it is, and like we hope that we won't be in this situation again. But as you say there, and as you point out, it is hard on Mungret. We'd say quarter-final, semi-final, final, and like Hugh Burke did tell you, Tom, in an interview, or John Keogh, like the importance it was for Adair to try and get out of a quarter-final. When it was set up like that, but I still think that there will be momentum, and the adrenaline will be coursing through the veins of Mungret bodies at the moment. And I'd say, they can't wait for Sunday.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've plenty other games to discuss. John, how do you see it going on Sunday? I know Matt will be giving us his prediction, but if you were to get off the fence and lean one way or another, how do you see it?
I suppose I think we probably similar to round 1. I think Newcastle West, but not Newcastle West to shade it, but if Mungret were to win it, it wouldn't be one bit of a surprise at all.
No, it wouldn't, and I think we're in for a good few years of watching this Mungret team evolve and go Absolutely. Very, very close, if not get over the line in the very near future. And I don't think there's anyone in the county could argue with that. And I don't think Adair and Fodder cases are gone from the picture either. But Mungret's very much sparring at the top here.
But you know what it says to me, like Mungret have come through the intermediate. They had been flirting with breaking through at intermediate level, and eventually got over the line. And like it's a paragon for any clubs that get promoted. Now, Keel were promoted last year, or was at the end of last year, and they had a bad start to the senior campaign, but they finished with 2 wins and a draw, which was very, very satisfactory. At the early stage of this year's championship, they were dogged by injury, and certainly. In my view, they would have been, were it not for the amount of injury that they had, they could possibly have been in the knockout stages, which for intermediate clubs, and I would be a critic of the intermediate championship and the structure of it. But it looks as if there's a pathway there to progress at senior level.
Yeah, it's certainly those two clubs have shown there is anyway. Just one other senior game we must discuss, lads, at this juncture, and it was, of course, the relegation final of last weekend. John, it would be a foolish man who'd back against Ballylanders in the relegation playoff at this stage. They only need to win one game a year to stay senior, and they defeated Na Piarsaigh last weekend. The great survivors. I know Matt is brimming from year to year there, right? But we have to credit them. They've really struggled in a lot of senses in the last few years, but by God, they've got it right in each of those relegation playoffs.
Yeah, I suppose look, we were fortunate enough that we got over the line against them in the semi-final, but when you're playing Ballylanders in that predicament, is whatever has happened previously, whatever form is there goes out the window. It's 60 minutes of a complete dogfight, and it's I said, like, it was a fair battle against them. But look, you would expect it any other way when you had you guys there like you Danny Frew and you Jimmy Barry Murphy and these fellas, like they're Ballylanders through and through, and Ballylanders blood flowing through them and proud and passionate, and like they die with their boots on. I think even there was a few times there Kieran O'Callaghan wasn't too far away from me at the match. He was nearly ready to jump the fence and go in and get involved himself at times. But no, look, credit to him, all due. They managed to pull it out, and I know like that they basically be probably disappointed, but they have a young team there too as well. Like, you know, they've a lot of lads under the age of 22 and stuff like that. So look, it could be an opportunity to go back now and start building something there in the intermediate ranks, and they'll come again anyway.
Yeah, Matt, disappointment for, I know you're smiling there, but disappointment for Na Piarsaigh. They obviously were intermediate winners, was it 2022? They came up 2 quarterfinals in a row, just weren't able to get anything going this year, and obviously came unstuck. I think Owen O'Mahony inflicted a lot of the damage to Na Piarsaigh at the weekend, more than a couple of long range 2-pointers as well.
He kicked 4, Tom, but I must make an open confession, Tom, that I absolutely dreaded talking about football when the subject of football came down during the summer, but I'm quite happy to talk about it all night now at this stage. But Bally were definitely deserving winners. There was no question about that. Owen O'Mahony, he only came back in the late summer. He was in Australia for 2 years, and I think this was only his second or third appearance since he came back. Now he kicked 4 huge 2-pointers from dead balls on the ground, and I've been saying for a good many years before Owen went that he's one of the best. You probably know the guy, John.
Yeah, he would have played with the likes of Colin McSweeney, and he would have been as well. The same minor team with Josh Ryan and those guys. They beat Tip over in Thurles in the minor championship a few years ago. Jerry Sullivan was the manager. Yeah,
he'd be one of the best dead ball kickers in the county. He's a fantastic dead ball count, and you know his 8 points made a huge contribution, and. But a player that has really lit up the championship for Ballylanders this year, and you had your Danny Froons, and you had your Donald Kellys, and you had your Jimmy Barrys. But the real story of the championship for Ballylanders this year has been Rob Downey. Has been absolutely outstanding in every game, and it was his goal on Saturday as well that put Ballylanders on the road. But it's 4 years now of relegation playoffs for Ballylanders, and they're still standing. It's 4 not out, Tom.
Yeah,
and
they might try and avoid it next year, Matt. You know, winning out a couple of group games.
Just a little matter of fact this year, between hurling football and ladies football, the New Ballylanders were in 3 relegations finals and won all 3.
Yeah, and you probably would have argued they were underdogs going into all 3, but as maybe John points out, those sort of things matter little when there's such high stakes. But anyway, commiserations in the Piarsaigh. I'm sure, as John said, they'll probably bounce back.
I think the Piarsaigh will bounce back. They have the potential. They play a very nice brand of football, and it was unfortunate. Like they started poorly, as you recall, last year, and then just got a spurt on and qualified for the quarterfinal where they went out to Father Casey's. And there were signs this year towards the concluding stages of the group stages, particularly with the return of Dylan Cronin, that they were finding a bit of form, and they had become very competitive in the last 2 games of the group stage. but unfortunately, I suppose time ran out for him on Saturday last.
Yeah, it did. So it's senior for Ballylanders again in 2026, and intermediate the place for the Pierce. Moving to the intermediate grade, we have a final pairing known at last. It was the last final pairing to be confirmed. It's Galbally who fell to Askeaton, Ballysteen, Kilcorn and Desmond's on Tuesday evening, which sets up a neighbourly clash between St. Senan's and Askeaton, Ballysteen, Kilcorn. And John, it's been a good bounce back year we're talking about bouncing back there from the Pierce, a good bounce back year for Askeaton, Ballysteen, Kilcorn, because relegated last season. They didn't win their group. They were beaten by Kappa to win that group, but they've bounced back well now. Got through the quarterfinal, got through the semi-final, and are in a county final against St. Senan's, who have a very free-scoring James Naughton at the helm of their attack. So it augurs to be a good final between these near neighbours.
Yeah, definitely. Again, two teams in a good vein form, and even when you look at the Bally, if you were to just come in and look at it, you see St. Senan's with James Naughton and Ballysteen, ABK was Danny Neville. You can say these are the two prime forwards, but like I think in the game during the night, Danny Neville got no score for him. But he's pulling strings there, and like when you look at the team that they have, like they've experienced there in ABK, like you've Packy Moore and you James O'Mara back, and you've the evergreen Shane Gallagher, great credit to that man. And like I was fortunate enough to work with Shane in development squads there a number of years ago, and like an all-round top-class footballer, really served Limerick well, and outside of football, an absolute top-class guy. Could not speak highly enough of the man, and like he's there in and around the middle of the field. The experience that he brings is paramount to that team, like, because you have an awful lot of big units out there around the middle of that middle third for ABK have some really big strong lads, like you Luke Gamble there, Sam Condon, I said Packy playing in six, Park McMahon and James O'Mara, like the two of them boys could easily slot into midfield, and then you Danny like at 11, who like you want a ball player at 11, you've no better man than Danny there. And then like when you have the likes inside, then like Joey Rush and Paddy Murphy, two really nippy corner forwards, great movement. And other than look, just unfortunately then like David Shaughnessy listed 14, but as fellas are aware, David unfortunately suffered a crucial injury, so simply to him again, another lad that would have worked with down through the years, and another lad I couldn't speak highly enough of.
Yeah. They'll face St. Senan's. James Naughton managed to just the 12 points at the weekend. You know, he was missing the 4 goals that he got earlier in the year, but 12 points for him in victory over Kappa, who 12 points actually came from Seamus O'Carroll for them as well. I
would like to concur there with what John said, and I'd like to send every good wish to David O'Shaughnessy for a speedy recovery. It's his injury is robbing the game of one of its star players. I saw him playing in Galbally and ABK met in the league final. Now Danny Neville was tied up with Limerick at the time. Galbally won it by a point on a night when David O'Shaughnessy scored 2 goals and 9 points. That will tell you the value he is to, the importance he is to the ABK setup. But his injury is totally unfortunate. But the potential is there for a great game, like, because we still have big players on both sides, as John listed there. None more so, I suppose, than James Naughton. But like James Naughton, again, here we have the injury bug. James Naughton's county colleague Cormac Wolfe is going to be missing through injury. So like there's one big player on both sides out of the final. But
they'd probably be marking each other, yeah.
It probably would have, maybe. Cormac is a cornerback or a full back line man. David is a full forward line man. And it still has the huge potential now. Ballysteen, which say ABK now, as they have been redesignated, like they've just gone down, and it sometimes it's very, very hard to bounce back up again. But they have come. They're on the threshold of completing an immediate return. Now, it has happened in the intermediate championship before. The most recent to do it were the Piershig in 2022. Adair did it about in 2017, I'd say. So it is something that has been done regularly in Limerick, and I'm expecting a massive game on Saturday in the Bog Garden. I think it's going to be huge now. ABK beat a very, very competent and a very, very good Galway side. Make no mistake about that. And Galway were runners up last year, and they will be hugely disappointed now. All right, they had a lot of players. They had as many as 7 or 8 players that featured with Gallisballan in Waterford on Sunday, in Dungarvan, which went to extra time. And I'm not offering that as excuses, but it's probably had an impact because they made a very, very slow start to the semi-final with ABK. But I saw the league final, and I said to myself, the conclusion I came to, what a great county final it would make. There was some great football played in it, and I think you've two now. It's a great revival on the part of St. Sinnans, who didn't even make the knockout stages last year. So it's a great turnaround on their part. And Western rivalry and bragging, you have Fines, Shannagolden, Mesquite, Ballysteen, Kilcornan.
Just all off the M69. Yeah, John, what better way for any club to win a county than winning it against the team over the road? Like, it'll be sweet for whoever emerges from it's actually Sunday match in the Bog Garden. Whoever emerges with the cup, it'll be extra sweet because obviously facing their neighbours.
Yeah, look, you might have said face your neighbours. You referenced the two boys there, David and Cormac, like both out through injury, but 2 inter-county teammates, 2 former classmates, 2 former under-20 players, and 2 former UL Fresher teammates as well. Like, so, look, they're side by side. They know each other inside out. Sinnans, like, they'd be rocking on now. And I mentioned there about ABK having big units like that. Sinnans won't be shy of having that bit of physicality either too. Like suppose you go far, Simon O'Brien there, 11, Adam Kearns, and then look, there's a lad, Ray O'Flaherty then, who I have to give a shout out to. He's involved with me in the 20s, and one thing Ray,
they're not short of experience either. They do have younger kids, but they, like you mentioned, Ray there,
like Ray O'Flaherty, have been around the block, and they were involved when they won it. The last time they won it, they beat Galway in 2017.
And Ray's probably playing some of his best football that he has been doing, but look, again, look, it most definitely has the makings to be another really entertaining game, and I think, it's having the 2 games on, one in the Bog Garden, the other in McNeville Park. I know that you probably can't host 2 games, but I thought maybe something could have been done for maybe some sort of a concession for a ticket that, you buy one and you get into the other one, because it's only up the road, and at the end of the day, it's trying to get people to go to games. And in fairness, to the senior and the intermediate final, these 2 games have the prospects of being really, really quality, good football games. And for any neutral, myself, I can't wait for them on Sunday.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's actually a fair point. Yeah, they probably there is, of course, the factor in the same town. That's one positive move. But you're right. Maybe it could have been 2 for 1 on the ticket or something, or one. I
go along with you there.
There is obviously the prospect, or there is the news from ourselves here in Sport Limerick and Stream Sport that both games are being streamed as well. So I do know a few people from the St. Sinnans ranks who are now abroad and stuff like that, and I'm sure it's the same across all 4 clubs with their members are abroad. So it'd be great for those in those 2 finals that people can tune in and listen and watch and hear and see all the ups and downs of the day. So but I hope we'll be seeing 2 big crowds in the Bog Garden and later in the afternoon then in McNeville Park for those finals. Lads, time is moving on. We'll just move down to the Premier Junior grade. We know who's heading for Munster. John, that is a hand, but they will want to do so as Munster champions when they face Father Casey's second team in this Premier Junior final. And it's quite a resurgence for a hand who I suppose were probably not making much of a market to adult football in recent times, but in fairness to them, I think they've done well in a couple of minors and 19s, maybe, as it was in some of the grades down the last few years, and that now is starting to bear a bit of fruit at adult level. Promoted last year and 60 minutes away from another promotion here again.
Yeah, back-to-back promotions would be a fair achievement, look, again, a lot of work going out there in football in the hand circles, and plenty of lads that would have been involved with different squads down through the year, like even with us this year. Guys like 13 and 15 from there, Don Dawson and Adam O'Connor would have been involved with us. Jack Butler, he's out injured. I don't know what he featured now to weekend, unfortunately, but Jack was really, really solid for us this year. 20 put on a really, really good year, and as a reward got called into the senior, was involved with the lads then up to the Tackling Cup final. And look, I suppose they have experience in other facets of the team, which probably Ian Keatley and Sean Cronin, the two obvious names, coming from public background. But then again, Sean Cronin might line out as wearing the six jersey, but if you go back to 2005, I think he kicked 2 points from Monaleen when they won the county senior championship. And I think a big thing that Hand have, and he's not tagged out, and he'd be a loss, but I know that he's a huge factor out there, is Gary Brennan.
Is my presumption correct in that he's probably driving a lot of this? I know there's probably a lot of other people in the club, but when you have a figurehead like him, he's a school teacher. I've seen him coaching teams out in Flannans and stuff. He's probably someone who's probably pulled it together in the last few years and said, you know what, there's a makings of a team here. And I know he was playing himself last year, but like to have a guy like him at the helm and leading it all, it's absolutely no harm for a club like Ahan.
No, it is massive. It's absolutely massive. I know a few lads down in the Clare circles now, and I know Clonagad would welcome back in open arms in the morning. But look, he's married and he's moved out there now, and he's young kids coming up along the lengths. So I think hopefully he'll keep his kids in the hand. Because if they eventually declare, I say with the pedigree between Gary and Neve now, I say there's some exciting prospects coming there as well. But
well, if they have to play, their two parents are, there'll be some talent, no matter what the sport. Yeah, but no, like he seems to have fitted in there seamlessly, even playing hurling last year at senior level as well. So he's a superb little addition to the club.
Yeah, I would agree totally there. The arrival of Gary Brennan was probably the spark that they needed. But, a rising tide lifts all boats. They seem to be doing an awful lot of work at underage level. I've seen him beaten in a county under 21 final 2 or 3 years ago. I saw him winning the minor A championship earlier this year with a very, very good young team, defeated Ballylanders very, very comfortably in the final. So I think it is no surprise that Ahan are coming. They're certainly coming. They have a young team. Whether they can take that extra step now up to intermediate football, we don't know, because Father Casey's will be coming with a team that a number of their players on the panel have considerable experience at senior level, and they were up for 1 year before, and I think they went back down. Was it in 2023? They were only up for 1 year, and
they didn't field really in the second year. I think their immigration and a few other factors came against them, and they more or less pulled out the competition. Yeah.
So they were up actually for 2, but didn't field for 1. Wasn't that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. John, I know you've seen the team Father Casey's lined up with last week, and I suppose it has, as Matt's touching on there, that mix of lads who've probably seen it all. It's seen plenty at senior level, and there's lads then who very much trying to make a name for themselves within the club.
Yeah, like look, Sean Scannell there in goal from he's involved in our senior team as well. I think if I'm right saying he has won a county championship. You have up front then Billy Cork and Park McHenry, two really good solid forwards, and then captain team Rob Brown at 6. Again, another guy with senior intercounty experience. Massive having someone like Rob around. All these young lads that are there, like Cathal Wolf there playing in the middle of the field. Cahill's only 19 this year, I think. Powerful unit. Dylan O'Connor again was involved with those Miners and another 20 squads. Another live wire up in the forwards, and even like looking at the bench, like there's some really, really exciting young players. You guys like Adam Murphy, Ryan Sweeney, Matt Nolan, Liam O'Connor, who was kind of dogged with injury this year. He was only a minor, George young lad. But like they do really have a lot of ammunition in that team. But again, look, I know I'm probably repeating myself here what I said about the intermediate and senior final. But again, this has the prospect of being a really, really exciting game too as well. And like you said there, like even about Gary Brennan, like Gary Brennan is a brother-in-law to Sean Cronin, like, you know, so that could be another factor in Sean coming out to the ahead thing. We've mentioned about Gary being the key to the hand unlocking his possible potential.
Yeah, I know that's true actually. Yeah, but bringing in ex-professionals from other codes can't be a bad thing around the place, because those guys, I'm sure, have
Look,
habits.
Sean Cronin has 72 caps for his country.
Not too bad. Yeah, although has he played for other cases before? You know, Matt, it's a bit. We were talking about neighbourly clash in the intermediate. It's the extremes of the county, really. These two clubs nearly couldn't be too much further apart, could they?
No, but bragging rights probably won't come into it. But you have the ingredients there, and you have the potential there for a fine game of football. Like it's sort of in many ways. You have the new kids in the block in football, as you know, in Ahan, and you have the old warriors and the vastly experienced Father Casey's. It has all the ingredients for a great final, and of course. Ahan have already the safety net of that they have Munster Football Championship to look forward to already, as we said at the outset. So, it's very, very hard to see what will divide them. Maybe the momentum that Ahan they only finished third in the group stage in the group phase. That they have garnered during the year may take them over the line. It'll be very interesting, but it'll be very, very close.
Yeah, that's 2 p.m. on Saturday in Askeaton, if my notes are correct. So
yeah, your notes are dead correct. That's dead.
Look, so that's it from the top three grades, and I suppose we'll know our other two Munster representatives later at the weekend or by Sunday evening, I suppose, and it will be extra time and penalties across the grades if and when required. So perish the thought for all the teams involved. John, I'm going to let you go on that, but thanks a million for your contribution. I know you've plenty of games watched, and you've probably plenty more to watch now this weekend in and around the county. So hopefully we'll be seeing the best of the young talent, and some of them will come under your wing next season. And I'm sure lads have put their hand up already across the various different competitions. So we'll be chatting to you again soon, and I'm sure we'll see you at a game or two over the weekend.
Cheers. Thanks a million, lads.
Thank you very much, John. See you at the weekend.
Great to have you. All right, it's long fall. And Matt, so great to have John already.
John has an encyclopedic knowledge of the players. You see, it's just absolutely phenomenal the way they've rolled off his tongue. But he's the under-20 manager, and look, there isn't an under-20 footballer in the county that he hasn't a dossier on. It's but when you meet him in person, it's just the same thing. He has such an intimate knowledge of so many players. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, we'll keep going. I think since we last spoke, Matt, the relegation was decided at the Premier Junior grade, wasn't it? Between that was
Ballingarry and Mount Collins.
Yeah, it's Mount Collins now, unfortunately, who were senior at one point and were intermediate maybe for many more years, but unfortunately for them, they've slipped another grade now, so they're heading back to the fourth tier, and it's junior A football.
Yeah, they'll be junior A next year, Mount Collins, and it is a bit of a fall from grace for Mount Collins, because I remember I'm senior, and it's about 10 years ago, and they were just up for 1 year, I'd say, Tom. But it's disappointing now to have slipped back to intermediate, and from intermediate to Premier Junior, and now back to junior. So it's a fall from the top grade to the fourth.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it.
That's for sure, yeah. So disappointment for them. But Ballingarry, who had come up not that long ago, will stay.
They come up 2 years ago, they won the Junior A.
So they'll stay in the third tier for another season at least. Matt, moving down to the next final on the agenda, that is where are we going? Junior A final between Camogue Rovers, who are celebrating their 100 year in existence. And Matt, the most interesting statistic about Camogue Rovers is they have never won a championship title. So they have the opportunity against their second team at the weekend to rectify all that. They got here with a very comfortable victory over Hospital Herberstown. Adair needed extra time to get the better of St. Kieran's. So very much a novel pairing, as we say. But Camogue Rovers, probably for the neutral, will be the one that people will keep an eye on here. No disrespect to Adair, but I think it's perhaps now is Camogue's time to shine.
Sure. Look, it's a fairy tale story, Tom. I was talking to one of them today, and I think they're half afraid to dream at this stage. But like they've been there or thereabouts for the last few years. A hand beaten by a single point last year, 112 to 111. So it isn't as if county final day will be new to them. But they're coming up against an Adair team. I was looking at the Adair squad now. There are a number of players in the Adair squad who would have experience at senior, and it'll tell you. In terms of Adair, Tom, it gives you a sense of the strength that Adair have. Like we said, this day week before the semi-finals, they were within touching distance of completing a senior and a junior A double, which would be absolutely phenomenal. And but the senior has obviously gone by the way now, so all the focus is on the junior A. But it's not today or yesterday that Camogue Rovers have been making waves of a possible breakthrough. Now it's never easy to make a breakthrough. They have lost a couple of finals over the years. But no disrespect to Adair, I think the county will be behind them on Saturday, because it's romantic, Tom. It's fairy tale stuff when somebody wins a county for a first ever county, and to do it on the 100th anniversary of their formation is even more fairy tale stuff as well, So.
Absolutely, yeah. I know some people, actually we didn't touch even Camogue, are from Mianis. Some people mightn't, different parts of the county might know exactly where they are, but it's actually a huge parish. Bruff, Grange and Mianis is the big parish that's there, and Bruff not currently fielding at football, and it's, I suppose Bruff obviously have the bigger pull there in terms of hurling, but they have benefited, I believe, from Bruff's removal from football. I see Patrick Finn there is at wing back. He'd obviously be more renowned as a hurler from Bruff, but there's other names that are long serving in the green and yellow of Camogue. Anthony Dealin.
Well, Anthony's been there for a long time, and Anthony Dealin has been there. The O'Donnells. So there's a lot of players there that have seen a lot of service, seen a lot of heartbreak with Camogue Rovers, and I think there'll be very few people would begrudge him if Saturday is their day in the sun. I hope it won't be like today.
Yeah.
And that
it was it's a 2 p.m. start in Kilmallock for that one. It's part of actually a doubleheader in the venue on Saturday. So Adair's second team, which are actually managed by the same management, I believe, Harry Gleeson and Morris Horn. So no bad coaching ticket there. As Adair look to get up another grade with their second string, but it's Camogue who will have eyes on the prize, having lost the last two finals. Matt, heading to the fifth tier, the most important tier of the weekend, I think it's fair to say, the Junior B final.
Why would that be now, Tom? That would be the most important.
Because Knock On are trying to end 83-year wait for championship silverware. No, it's obviously Knockany versus Knock On, and obviously my adopted club, Knockany, are delighted to be in the final, and as too, I'm sure Knock On are, but it's a big occasion for both clubs, Matt. I think that goes without saying, and I know I'm being a bit mischievous here.
A big occasion for my colleague on Treaty Talk.
Yeah, that's for sure. Look, it's great to be in the final, great to have another day out, because, as you said last week, we were playing a strong Brewery team, and indeed they were a strong team. They had a very good start to the game, but thankfully, by hook or by crook, we forged our way ahead by half-time, and in the second half then we got an early goal in the second half then that put, from Rory Rail, that put us I think 5 or 6 up, and we knocked over another point or two. And even when Brewery did find the back of my net, they were a little bit too far behind late on.
And that was some achievement now. Find the back of your net.
I do. Well, they hit the crossbar as well, and there was another skirmish or two around the square. And look, the goal lived a charmed life, as they say, Matt. But look, great to be in the final. The last time, I was joking with people, the last time I played Junior B was with Ballybrown, and we went all the way. So I'm going for a unique back-to-back, but there is a very experienced and a very prominent team in our way in terms of Knock On. And I say very experienced because they have, and I'm saying that sincerely, they've obviously been in 2 finals in recent times. 2019 we were at it, watching it in the same venue, and in 2022, and they came out the wrong side on both occasions. But to be fair to them, they had to dig deep, Matt, in their own semi-final. They went to extra time with Ballybricken and kicked through to win by 2 goals. I think 4-14 to 2-14. Yeah. So they were in the higher scoring semi-final. But Knock-On versus Knockany, 2 clubs, Matt, that would not win a lot. That's fair to say. Down the years, and a big occasion for all heading to Martinstown again this Saturday afternoon. So look, it's great to be there, and I could see how much it meant to people of Knockany. As I said, I'm only after registering with the club this year, so in a way it doesn't mean the same to me, but I could see what it meant to people to be playing, and obviously we have to take the final step now. But it's great to be in a county final at any grade,
Yeah, but it's great to see the revival of football in Knockany, Tom.
Yeah, and I think it's the Leahys who are our managers, Keane and Fikra, who, as far as I know, led it up last year to get the team back going and get the ball rolling, as they say. And I think their mantra was simple, that they'd go out every day, feel the team, and see where it took them. And now we're starting to add a little bit of quality, on the pitch. And
Fikra reached out for his brother-in-law, one Jimmy Barry Murphy.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, doing a bit of coaching with us in the last, since maybe round 4, round 5, and yeah, no harm.
That's not the Cork version now.
No, it's not. And look, it was great. Credit to Ballylanders as well, actually, because clubs helping each other out, and they did let us use their facilities, the new floodlit pitch, or the new floodlights, we'll say, on the pitch in Ballylanders. And great to Deneen Park, isn't it? Is that the name of it? Frank Deneen Park, is it?
Deneen Park,
yeah. Great to have availability of a pitch. But look, it's great to see. We're not exactly rivals with each other, but good to see Ballylanders helping us in the last few weeks in terms of access to a bit of a grass facility. And look, I hope it's a good final. I hope obviously to come out the right side of it, but and nevertheless it should be a special occasion for both clubs, because what's rare is wonderful, Matt. I think it's been 10 years since Knockany contested an adult final, 20 years since they won one. That was the Junior B. I think it was this day actually 20 years ago that they won it, and Knock-On going back to 1940 since they won a championship title. So it is really what's rare is wonderful for both these clubs.
Knock-On won the junior championship in 1935. I wasn't around that day now, but right. They won the senior championship in 40 or 41. I think they won it on an objection. They were beaten 2-4 to 2-3 by Abbeyfield, and Abbeyfield objected on eligibility grounds, and it was awarded to Knock-On. But obviously they had come very, very close to winning it anyway. So and of course they lost 3 or 4 finals in a row back in the day. So like they were a powerhouse in Limerick football back in the 30s and the early 40s, and it's they've contested a couple of finals lately, and the 2019 final, it was a Gary McInerney goal for Bannog with practically the last kick of the game that decided it. And now in 2022 they were in the final, and they lost kind of heavily to Castletown Ballygranite that day.
So they're obviously they're hoping third time lucky, and it's
and like you lose one to win one, that sort of thing. But it promises to be a very, very interesting game, and very, very hard to call it, Tom. You've been on the ground with the Junior B Football Championship this year, would be best placed, but you're not well placed, seeing that you've vested interest in that you're playing in it. So,
what I would say,
I haven't seen any of the Junior B football games this year.
Well, what I would say is that we both came from opposite groups, so there's little farm lines from that, as in where there's little you can read from that, and we both played teams from our own group in the semi-finals as well, because Knock-On won their group and they played Ballybricken, who were third in their group, and it just so transpired that we were third in our group and Brewery had won the group. So there's little farm line you can read from that, because the crossover was limited so far in the groups. And look, I think Knock-On overall are probably the more older side. They have probably names that have been playing adult football that bit longer, but then we have a bit more exuberance of youth in Knockany, and lads who are just getting to grips with playing adult football. So look, it's great. There's a contrast maybe in that regard, but nevertheless it should be a very closely fought contest.
Tom, there's a little additional prize for the winner, in that they'll compete in the Munster Junior B Championship competition down in Knockaderry later this year. or early next year. And
Yes.
were you in the one when Ballybrown won?
I was. I only played in the semi-final, Matt, and it wasn't my best day out. Let's just say that.
So
Thankfully,
you'll be going for a double down there.
yeah. Well,
Not
double
any
as
win.
fast. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. Look, it's a competition. I think I said it to you before, Matt. It's a competition that I associate with one man, and it's not Mike Mann. And I'm saying this very, very sincerely. It's the late Shane Kenny of Ballybrown who got the winning goal in that Munster final, you know. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But it's a competition that I associate with him, and not that his football was his forte. It was everything, but mainly hurling. But he got the winning goal for us in that final. But anyway, look, sincerely about that.
In the event of winning, you have no plans to enlist the services of Mike Mann for the Munster Championship.
I don't think so. Jimmy Barry has it covered off. But look, it actually is a great opportunity for both these teams: A, to win silverware, and B, to be representing Limerick in a Munster competition, because there's little chance that could happen for either club in the foreseeable, you know, but for this competition. So, you know. Anyway, it's a 1 p.m. start in Staker Wallace, and again, just to clarify, if anybody doesn't know where Knock On is, it is in the parish of Palace Green and Temple Braden, and they are one of Limerick's oldest clubs. So they do line out from there, and they're right in the corner of Limerick, looking over the road almost to Tipperary from their surrounds. So look, they made the best team win on Sunday. Just hope it's the men in black. Anyway, moving to the inaugural Junior C final, Matt, it is a meeting of Atay, and they will meet South Liberties, who are returning to football. So Atay fielding a second team, I think, for the first time in a while as well, and Liberties back at the grade. Now, these two teams met in a group game, and South Liberties were comfortable winners. But as you know, Matt, down the lower grades, as teams get into the business end of it, they can start strengthening up and they can start improving. So Atay will be hoping that they'll get a huge bounce out of winning a tight semi-final with Patrickswell last weekend.
Yeah, but an overview of the C Championship, first of all, Tom, is that it this year it provided a vehicle for the return to football of South Liberties, Patrickswell, and Kilmallock. And if for no other reason, the competition has been a success. And you're right, it's going to be an interesting final. South Liberties are going to come into it as favourites, and having had a difficult year in hurling, having suffered a second relegation, you know, it'll cushion it somewhat, or it'll temper it somewhat, the disappointment if they were to pick up some football silverware at the end of the season, because there's nothing better for clubs to end the season than to go out on a high note, and the only way you can go out on a high note is to win whatever championship you've been in, because it's championship at this stage, leagues are over and all that sort of thing. So it's good to see Liberties. Now, Atay are coming in. They lost the Premier Junior final last year, and this is their second year in the final, and things didn't go that well for them in the final last year, so they will be hoping for better luck. But Tom, form seems to go out the window a bit. What happened in? Sorry, I'm putting it wrong there. What happened in the previous game in a group stage has more often than not has very little bearing in what will happen if they meet in the concluding stages, or particularly in the knockout stages.
Yep.
So I don't tend to read so much into those things. They're a guide, but nothing more. And yeah, look, it's a big day for both clubs, and it's on in Fina on Saturday at 2:00, and we'd like to wish both sides the very, very, very best of luck. And like they will be making their own bit of history in that they will be the first Limerick Junior C football champions.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, they'll have that honour, and no one will be able to take it away from them. So Fina for that one. Just to mention, as I said earlier in the piece, 2 games being streamed this weekend. It is the senior final, which has a 3:30 p.m. throw-in in McNeville Park, and earlier in the day it's a 1 p.m. start in the Bog Garden, where I believe Matt will be joining John Keogh on commentary for that one, and joining me for the senior final will be Josh Ryan. And just to mention Josh Ryan, Matt, probably he's up there with Mike Mahon in terms of the tallest co-commentators we've had this year. I know Mike McMahon did a hurling game, but unfortunately for Josh, news confirmed.
Josh is 6'5".
Yeah, it looks a lot bigger to me now, I tell you.
He confirmed it to me to settle an argument one day.
He's 6'5" and growing, I'd say. The unfortunate news for him last week, Matt, was it confirmed that against Ballylanders that he suffered a cruciate knee ligament injury and will be out for the foreseeable, obviously for club and indeed county. And I tell you, if this man thought he'd bad luck a few years ago, he's after having even more bad luck here. And he was just coming back into true form with Limerick. We saw the 2-pointers he kicked for Limerick. We saw the scores he was racking up for Ula, and unfortunately, injury now is his lot for the next while. Very disappointing.
Yeah, and he was facing surgery on the other leg anyway. Carry over and deferred it to play in the semi-final of the relegation. And I'm just, my heart goes out to Josh. The contribution Josh has made, Tom, since he came back, been phenomenal. Goalkeeper for Limerick. Took the golden boot last year, even though Ula didn't root up any threes, is in line to take it again this year. That will just give you a sense of the contribution of the man. Tom, I just don't know. My heart really goes out to Josh, and being good to us here on Treaty Talk. And
sure, yeah.
We're talking about a great guy, Tom. We
know the strength of him. He should bounce back. There's no guarantee of that, unfortunately, with such an injury. But we if it's anything he's involved in, there's a very good chance he'll come back.
Well, it won't be for want of determination anyway, Tom. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely, yeah. We look forward to hearing from him Sunday, providing analysis.
On Sunday, looking forward to meeting with him. I met him after the injury took place. I sussed him out after the match. And of course, it was very, very early days. There was, he was hoping. He was being optimistic.
Yeah,
but deep down, probably thought to himself, maybe here goes again,
Okay, so he's on the way back in the long term, but let's see how it plays out. Moving, Matt, to hurling, we had a final last week. We have a final this week as well. With the Junior B was concluded last week. The Junior C will bring a close to the adult competitions this season in our domestic calendars. Matt, it's Ballybrown who were celebrating last Sunday night. A late smash and grab, 2 goals in stoppage time. A goal either side of a Staker Wallace point that they thought might be the winner. But Ben Adams, I suppose, fortuitous goal, really, you could say, meant a 3-9 to 16 points win for Ballybrown. And at the third time of asking, they have won Junior B and are heading back to the Junior A ranks. You were at this one.
I was. And it was so disappointing for the Stakers. They had a couple of chances really to put the game beyond Ballybrown's reach, maybe in normal time, and didn't do it. And but full credit to Ballybrown, and it's a lesson to all teams, Tom. If you hang in there, you don't know what might happen, and that the break might come. And sure it came. It was Ben Adams got the second goal anyway.
Yeah, it was Ethan Keys who got the earlier one.
Ethan Keys, who was very, very good throughout the game. Because he got the first one. The 2-goal salvo at the end.
Rob O'Brien, I think, got the earlier goal.
Rob O'Brien, because he had come on after 10 minutes from Michael Davern, who picked up a knock and had to leave the field. But it was hugely disappointing for the Stakers because it's the Stakers' first team, Tom. But and I mentioned it here because I was reminded several times of it on Sunday, like where I said that they'd die with their boots on, which they absolutely did. But I'm given a forewarning now that I think Fergal Carney, who I spoke with and interviewed after the game, I think he put his finger on it when he said that the Stakers won't be too long more in that grade. And I'm of the same opinion because they have a very, very, very young team now. I've been talking to a number of them since, and I was talking to one of them today even, but it was little consolation to be telling him, to be quite honest, that, look, you have a very, very young team and that they're really going places. But 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 Tom, 'twas a good final, and I'll tell you, if you just came in cold off the road to see a game, you'd struggle to believe that it was Junior B.
Right,
A lot
yeah,
of
good quality players there, and I know
good
a lot of
quality
Ballyboe.
players, good quality hurling in it, and it was good hurling.
I think Junior B has probably evolved in the last decade or decade and a half. The players are a lot fitter, they're a lot more skillful and all that, and it's probably reflected in each year in the final where we saw.
And the players are taking it more serious, and it was a kind of a pension like thing. You're going off, and we'll give you a pension of playing Junior B, like your pension to your career, like and the addendum to your career. We'll give you a few years playing Junior B. There's little of that around now, Tom.
Yeah, I know, and I know
it's it has its rightful place, and as I said, I think the Stakers had as much. They were into double figures in under 20 players.
Yeah, very young team. They won a Fela, didn't they? Competition. Was at the core of that, I'd say.
Yeah, as what I've been saying, Tom. I said it last week, and because I'd heard murmurings of it about the Stakers not having an underage structure. And I point out again, they have a very strong underage structure with Coshley Gales themselves and Effin.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It tended to be of mutual benefit more to Effin up to now, but that's the way the cycle of players go, and now it seems to be the Stakers' turn. So there are quite a lot of players in the Stakers there. There was one player in the Stakers last Sunday had 11 county underage medals.
11. Some clubs don't even have that, I'd say. But anyway, fair play. So congratulations to Ballyboe. Now, I know they actually were presented with the wrong trophy. They were presented with the Khalidi All-Ireland trophy. But anyway, there's some mix-up along the way. They'll eventually get their hands, I'm sure, on the County Junior B title. But nevertheless, it was...
was it prematurely given to him for Khalidi?
I don't know. I don't know where Kildare Palace Henry giving back the wrong one, or they tried to rub it in for that they beat them last year. But anyway, look, there was some mix-up along the way. But
yes,
anyway.
I was sent one or two of them. Like the template is there. You win the Limerick Junior B Championship, you go on and you win the All-Ireland Junior B.
Yeah, they'll look at that when it comes around. But finally, yeah, after one score defeats in the last 2 years, they get a one score win themselves to get over the line and back to Junior A, where I think they felt they belonged. But anyway, that's that. The Junior C final match. It's Doon's fourth team, Monaghan's second team. This one is penciled in for Saturday, 12 o'clock in Fitzgerald Park in Kilmallock. We do not have much about the teams. We'll be perfectly honest with you. It's a little bit lower on our pecking order, but
I got sighted the teams during the week, Tom,
right. A few names jump out probably for doing more stuff, but credit to Monaghan as well, a small rural area.
Dennis Maloney and Niall Maher, who played with Limerick, are playing in it, and Michael Ryan and Stephen Ryan, All Ireland minor medal winners, are playing with him. And then you go to the other side of it, Packy Richardson, who was a member of the minor team this year that won the county, they're in it. But like Tom, the Doon story, it can never be told enough. And I'm absolutely deadly serious about this. Doon basically is a rural area. And to be fielding 4 teams, not only fielding them, but 3 of them get to county finals. Senior, Junior A, and now Junior C. And the Junior Bs get to the semi-final. Tom,
the Junior C's won the East as well, so they put silver on the sideboard. The Junior B, so and the C's now have the chance as well. So yeah,
there can be no arguments. People would scarcely believe it.
Yeah,
but it is a fact. And Tom, it's down to one thing, and one thing only: hard work.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, there's Stormmat hurling out there as well, which also helps. But credit as well to Monaghan, Matt.
The only magic formula, and they're prepared to do it. And they have a structure, and they have a pathway for players. And by God, isn't it paying dividends?
Yeah, that's for sure. Credit to Monaghan as well, Matt. They've won their way to the final. It's a very small rural area themselves, and
very, very small.
Fielding.
It's their second team.
It is, yeah. I don't think there's no first teams in this competition. It was seconds, thirds, and fourths. In thirds in a lot of cases. but that's the final anyway. Pairing midday.
Monaghan would have a few players that would have experienced tour playing at a higher level. Would have played at junior level.
Yeah, the higher of the junior levels as well. Yeah, so
yeah, and like they dug out a very good semi-final result against Garris-Ballan.
They did. It was a fancied enough Garris-Ballan team from what I heard. Anyway, it's a midday shootout for them on Saturday in Fitzgerald Park in Kilmallock, first of a double bill there. Matt, moving to Munster Club hurling action. We'll come to All-Stars in a moment, but Munster Club action at the weekend just gone. 1 out of 3 for Limerick. It was Knockaderry flying the flag and will continue to fly the flag in hurling for Limerick, but disappointment for Garris-Ballan in intermediate and disappointment as well on home soil again for Na Piarsaigh. We'll start with Na Piarsaigh, our senior champions. 3-point defeat to Ballygunner. It's a strong Ballygunner team. I think that nearly goes without saying, but Na Piarsaigh will probably have a small few regrets. Didn't really bring their A+ game to this one.
No, I thought overall it was a poor game.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Yeah, very slow to the boil, and it just
very poor, very slow. It actually didn't ignite at all. If the truth be told,
after half time, maybe when there was a bit of free flow and stuff, and that it was stopped there.
If anyone was in any doubt, there's no doubt left now of the value and the importance of William O'Donoghue to Na Piarsaigh.
Yeah,
and indeed to Limerick.
Yeah, now I know people will immediately say Pádraig Mahoney missing for Ballygunner, but just William O'Donoghue in isolation, he would have been worth the 3 points alone. He'd have bridged that gap.
Would. Absolutely. Then, people advanced that argument to me this week, and I'm not listening to it because William O'Donoghue, like that, like in the area where he revels, Na Piarsaigh were in trouble, and you could only imagine were he there. What different type of situation we would have had. And it's very, very disappointing. It's the 7th time that Limerick champions have gone down to this crowd, Ballygunner, in 8 years, because there was no championship in 2020. But it's 7 in a row. I don't know what it is about Waterford champions at this stage now. And
it was 3 in a row before that for Na Piarsaigh over Ballygunner, but that seems like a long time ago now.
It's in the dim and distant past now.
Yeah. But Ballygunner have found a formula, to be fair to them, that works for them, and time and again they've managed to pull off these results in Munster, and they'll be obviously they've Sarsfield's next, but they'll be taking aim at this provincial title.
Yeah, when Ronan Lynch put Na Piarsaigh ahead with 8 minutes to go, I think 7 or 8 minutes to go.
Or 8 to go, yeah.
Yeah, you'd say to yourself, this is classical Na Piarsaigh now, they'll drive on and they'll see it out.
Didn't happen on the right.
No kick came from it, Tom, which is most on Na Piarsaigh like.
Yeah. Five of the last 6 points, the last three points as well went for Ballygunner. So they finished much the stronger. Their bench, Conor Tobin and a few more made it a telling enough impact as well. And look, it was just disappointment for.
There were 6 minutes at the end, from the 57th minute till the 3rd minute of time added on. There was no score from either side. Yeah,
there was hardly a shot at that one end either.
Overall, it was a poor game. And certainly, I thought on the day Ballygunner brought much more of their A game to the Gaelic grounds than Na Piarsaigh did.
Yeah, certainly in different sports. So that's the Munster Senior Club done and dusted from a Limerick perspective this season. Also, the same fate came in Tallow in Waterford. The Waterford runners-up representing Waterford due to Ballygunner's second team being ineligible. Went to extra time. I think, in fairness to the bouncers, they dug it out to force extra time, but unfortunately came unstuck. 2 points, wasn't it, in the end, Matt, in a high-scoring game?
2 points, 318 to 316, I think was the final score. It was 2 points anyway, and spare a thought straight away for Hugh Flanagan. You scored 3 goals and 11 points, and you end up on the losing side.
3-1 from play, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the bouncers. Like they went down there 7 years ago and were turned over by Clonea. And it'll be very interesting to see how far will Tallow go in this competition, because I was pretty confident that the bouncers were going to do very, very well on this occasion. Yeah. I thought it was really, really set up for them. And the fact that Tallow didn't have a game for 2 months, and the Bouncers were coming in fresh, if you like, having played games up to the county final 2 weeks prior to it, and it was the same story with the Piershick.
Yeah, that's the
And,
disappointment, isn't it? Yeah, they didn't get to the level that they were only a fortnight earlier, you know.
Yeah. It just went horribly wrong. Like, and you had 2 players well past their prime, Tom Ryan and Paul O'Brien. Paul O'Brien is 41, and they get 3 goals and 7 points between them.
Yeah, that's really disappointing stuff for the Bouncers. Yeah,
It's very, very, very disappointing. Very, very disappointing for the Bouncers. And again, I will say, the Bouncers did not do themselves justice.
no.
In that there's another notch or more in the Bouncers. They're a better team than that. You know, and I am extremely disappointed with the result. Extremely disappointed for the Bouncers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they missed the opportunity to host the game because they would have been at home in the Munster.
They would have been at home, which would have been absolutely fantastic against Abbey Dorney or O'Callaghan Mills.
Yeah, and it was actually the O'Callaghan's Mills who won through as well. So it would
That
have
won through, so it would have been a Limerick Clare clash. So
been Knocklang,
look, and
not worth thinking about maybe, but anyway.
no, not long. You know, I'll repeat it again. I said it last week, and I'll say it again for anyone who wants to hear it. Knocklang is well capable of holding a game of that magnitude.
Yeah, it would have been a special occasion, but they've missed the opportunity, unfortunately, and their focus will now switch to prepping for next season's senior hurling championship. Yeah, so back at the top table, moving down to the junior ranks, Matt, and finally something to smile about in terms of Munster club.
Yeah, and
it seems like a long while since we won a Munster club game in hurling anyway. But Knockderry have broken the duck, and
you know, it looked for so long that they weren't going to do it. And like they played against a strong breeze in the first half, or about a goal and 5 or 6 down at half time, and it didn't look. And Tallow were holding on, but Kinmare.
Yeah.
It was 2-10 to 1-4 at half time, I think. And Kinmare looked to be holding on. Knockderry got a spot early in the second half, got a couple of points, closed the gap, but didn't make any further imprints or inroads into the lead until they were going down the home straight when I think they got the last 1-6 without reply, or something like that, 1-5. Tom Condon about leadership, Tom. Tom Condon was outstanding.
Yeah, 1-6 to no score down the stretch in the last 5 minutes plus. So yeah, it was. He only conceded 4 points in the second half against
absolutely. Tom was outstanding. He started at full forward and he moved out around the middle, particularly in the first half when they were playing against the breeze. But he ended up with 4 points from play, Tom, and was involved in so much. Talk about turning back the clock. You know, Tom is ageless. And
so he had 4 points. Egan had 4 points. Mark Tanner had 3 from play and 7 in total. So that was the spread of the scoring. They went in their goals from is it Endemorn and Brendan Gowrie, I think.
Endemorn and Brendan Gowrie got the goals.
Yeah. So they spread the love around. Yeah.
I think it was Tom set up Brendan Gowrie's goal.
Yes, or a surging run at the start. Yeah. It was
so delighted for Knockderry, delighted for Tom, and delighted that they get the opportunity to showcase their new facilities on Saturday week when Kilbrittain from Cork will visit Knockderry.
Yeah, that's it. I know the announcement. I think we probably knew deep down anyway that they would be able to host the game because they've made improvements there and everything.
Massive improvements there.
Kilbrittain, and it'll be some occasion. It's Saturday week at, is it 1:15 or 1:45?
1:40, Tom, I think.
1:40, sorry. But yeah, big occasion for the village. And big occasion for the players indeed, and there's an opportunity for a Munster final appearance as well. So, but as we know, the Cork teams in these lower grades have been very strong down the year, so they'll have to be probably even better than they were below in Kerry. But the opportunity is there. That's all they wanted heading into.
They've got off to a winning start, which is going to be huge, and they've maintained the winning feeling from the Limerick Championship.
That's for sure. Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah. So that is it on the club front. As I said, the Junior C final will bring the close to the adult championships, and we'll know every single county winner by the close of business or by sometime in the afternoon on Saturday.
Except the under 21s, Tom.
Oh no, but in terms of adults,
Yes.
outright adult. If you get me, I know we've 20s hurling and football. About to get into full swing or in full swing really in some cases. Matt, All-Stars, probably worth skimming over this at this point. Limerick.
Yeah,
no All-Star for Limerick for the first time since 2017. We've had a superb innings in collecting those individual awards. But personally, I think Limerick can have few arguments. You can debate the team in terms of this player should have been in or out, but deep down maybe there was probably no Limerick player that was consistent enough during Limerick's involvement in the championship to deserve a place. So you could definitely make an argument for one or two, but I don't think maybe Limerick will fall on the right side of those arguments.
I think you could mark the All-Stars as red.
That's it, done. We do have Adam English up for Young Hurler of the Year, am I correct in saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll find out.
Best of luck, Adam. Hopefully he'll get it. He's been... has had a really good year, Tom.
He has, yeah. Despite the disappointment, Limerick, he obviously ended up a Fitzgibbon winner, indeed, and obviously had a good innings with Doon as well. So he's been had a very busy year, but Adam
English played a lot of hurling this year.
He sure did, yeah, and I'm sure he's enjoying some bit of downtime anyway. But look, he's probably a little bit of an outsider for that award, but nevertheless, fantastic to be nominated for Young Hurler of the Year when there is only 3 nominees each season. Matt, moving to Camogie, last but not least, I think on our agenda this week is Camogie. We have 2 huge games at the weekend, the Munster semi-finals involving Newcastle West and Patrickswell.
Yeah, Newcastle West. They're travelling to Cork on Saturday to take on St Finbarr's, the Cork champions, at 1:00 in the St Finbarr's ground in Toher. They're going up there on the back of a very, very good win over Aina Kilnamona in the first round when they travelled to Aina and beat the home side there. And Aina Kilnamona were coming off after winning the county final in Clare, in which they defeated Trua Clonlara, who were the Munster champions last year and were defeated in the All-Ireland final by Sarsfields of Galway. So that was some scalp for Aina to take in the first place, and for Newcastle West to take Aina's scalp in was huge. Now, the last time that Newcastle West travelled down to Cork, they travelled down to Sarsfields in Glanmire, and they were extremely, extremely unlucky not to come away with a win there. Now, you when you hear that you're going to Cork and that you're playing the Cork champions, immediately it flashes up in front of you how good Cork are at senior camogie, and the Bars now have won the Cork championship for the last 2 years, and they have some very, very good players, no doubt about it. Like Aisling Egan and Kate Wall have been on the Cork senior panel. Maeve Cahalan is the Cork senior captain. Her sister Orlet is a regular starter, and they have Sorka McCartan, who was player of the match and in the Cork final. And who is Sorka McCartan? She was one of the stars that came down from Down. Down lost its 2 big players, Sorka McCartan to Cork and Niamh Mallon to Galway. So they have a strong team, but what I think Newcastle West have, and I said it here, I think last week, that I thought Newcastle West were better prepared this year for, or when they were going to Clare, that they were better prepared this year. And in terms of development and further down the road in development than they were when they played Galtier. I think Galtier, we weren't trying to define Newcastle West by it, and I think it was all wrong. I think that was one of those flukes. That it was a very, very bad day for Newcastle West, because the previous day the previous year they had been so good down against Sarsfields, and like that has proved to be the case with the way that they got over Aina Kilnamona, and they have a much better side, Tom, and I think they have more potency up front. And overall, I think they're a better balanced side, and I think they're going to Cork Town with a chance.
Yeah, they are, albeit on away side. It's never easy, but look, they've done it in Clare. Why can't they do it on Lee's side? On Saturday
Exactly,
afternoon.
and like they should have done it in Cork 2 years ago against Sarsfields.
I think it wasn't some of the time robbed at the end as well. There was 30 seconds of stoppage time or something. But
30
anyway,
seconds of stoppage time. Yeah.
Okay, so look, that's Newcastle West. Best of luck.
Patrick Swell are playing Killard from Kerry. That's on in Carine on Sunday at 1:00, and it's the Munster Junior semi-final.
Yeah, Killard are, I suppose, they don't have championships in Kerry as such, so they're kind of the second club.
They're drawn from Ardfert, Kilmiley parishes, and they have won the last 5 Kerry championships in a row. Now, the only guy that I can
Who are
get
they playing? Who are they playing? There's so few clubs in Kerry,
Yeah. The only guy that can get for him is that they were knocked out of the Munster Championship last year by Croke Kilfinney.
Yeah.
So I'd be very, very hopeful that Patrick Swell can do the business.
Yeah, Patrick Swell obviously had their celebrations, have a couple of, or more than a couple of weeks, 3 weeks really, isn't it? So or 2 weeks, is it? 2 weeks.
They have a good sprinkling. They have a good sprinkling of players. Like if you take Sarah Carey, Sarah Gillan is the Limerick goalkeeper. You have Teresa Dore. You have Rachel and Sophie O'Grady, All Ireland winners. You have Kate Feasey and Roisin O'Brien played in an All Ireland minor A final. Like that's good pedigree in Patrick Swell, and like this, I'd be pretty confident that the Well will get over the line in this one, Tom.
Yeah, this is a Munster semi-final or quarter-final?
Junior semi-final.
Junior semi-final, so Munster final place in the offing for
up for grabs.
Yeah, up for grabs, absolutely. Okay, so best of luck to Newcastle West and Patrick Swell at the weekend in their respective semi-finals. Matt, any other business for us on this fine Thursday evening? No? Only to wish Knock Annie the very best. Fair play to you.
Tom, I wish there's 7 county finals, believe it or not, between Saturday and Sunday. I want to wish the 14 teams the very, very best of luck. I want to wish the 2 Limerick teams going out in Munster and Camogie, and I want to wish the 6 teams in the Limerick C Camogie finals the best of luck as well.
Yeah.
The C Camogie finals are on this weekend, the cup final is between Adair and Croke Kilfinney neighbours. The plate final is between Granaballangary and Blackrock Effin, and the shield final is between Mungret St. Paul's and Tournafulla. So we wish them all the best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, folks, thanks a million for tuning into 3 O'Clock. A reminder, 2 games being streamed the weekend on Sunday. The intermediate final from 1 p.m. and 3:30 start for the Irish Fire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final.
Looking for a new car or expert service? Visit Limerick Motor Centre, your main Hyundai dealer on the Ballysimon Road. A proud family business for over 30 years, we're Ireland's longest serving Hyundai